Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about what happens to your benefits if the government shuts down. And I know for a lot of us, this feels like something we've witnessed being discussed on repeat over and over and over again over the last few years. But with the events that happened today, it does look increasingly likely, according to multiple news sources. And I just didn't want you guys to be swept up in any of the misinformation and clickbait and drama that you may find on other channels or outlets. So, today we're going to talk about what is going on, why it matters, and what you can expect to happen to your benefits if the worst should happen and the government should shut down. So, here's where we're at right now. Congress needs to pass a spending bill by September 30th to prevent a government shutdown. If they don't, certain parts of the government, certain programs and services will have to stop until they can agree on some sort of budget resolution moving forward. Today, there was supposed to be some movement, but it looks like the Senate rejected the House plan, and then a competing plan also failed to pass. So, NBC News is now reporting that there is no clear path forward to avoid a government shutdown, and Polymarket is now predicting a 59% chance of a shutdown going forward. So, what's going to happen to your benefits is really the most important question I think a lot of you will be asking through this. And we're going to be talking about Social Security, food benefits, and more in this video. Many programs may end up being delayed at some point, depending on how long the shutdown continues. Some of them have significant protections that will allow them to continue operating as normal. We're going to go over all of that program by program here in the video today. But first, just a quick shout out to our sponsor, Free Cash. This is a great app that lets you get paid to play games, test new apps, and more. If at any point you're looking to earn a little extra cash, I highly recommend their platform. It's awesome. Now, let's dive in with VA benefits first. So, VA benefits and most critical VA services will not be affected by a shutdown. VA.gov says that the healthcare centers will stay open, benefits will still be paid, burials will continue, applications for headstones and things will continue. The Board of Veterans Appeals will still be making decisions, and both the contact center and Veterans Crisis Line will stay open. However, there are some other services that may be stopped or delayed. For example, they won't be doing any career counseling or transition assistance programs during a shutdown. The GI Bill hotline would be closed. Benefits regional offices may be closed and things like that. So, a lot of the critical things will stay open for the VA. Now, for Medicare and Medicaid, things are a little bit different. The representative Salud Carbajal said current Medicare, Medicaid, and disability insurance beneficiaries will continue to receive their benefits, assuming a shutdown lasts less than 3 months. Now, what I saw, it sounds like Medicare will keep running because it is a mandatory spending program. Things are a little less certain for Medicaid. I did see a statement on the Health and Human Services website that said that CMS would have sufficient funding only for regular Medicaid grant awards made within 30 days of the start of a lapse in appropriations. I saw reports in other places saying that they would be able to cover the whole quarter, and as long as it was less than 3 months of a shutdown, things should be fine. But it does appear that Medicaid could eventually become a problem if the shutdown were to continue too long. Now, along with that, during a shutdown, they also said that beneficiary casework would stop, outreach and education would stop. They wouldn't be surveying or certifying more healthcare facilities, and other things would also come to a close. But the core things that you rely on should stay functional. Now, if you rely on housing vouchers, those are funded through annual appropriations, so funding could potentially become a problem there. There is a nonprofit that reportedly was told that HUD would be following the same contingency plan they had in 2023, which specified that payments could be made for up to 2 months and that reserve funding may be available to fill in any gaps. But it's not entirely clear how that would apply because we are talking about ending at the end of a fiscal year, so things do get a little bit complicated there. Ultimately, from all the sources I reviewed, it sounded like existing housed families would probably be fine, but administrative tasks would likely slow down, inspections wouldn't be happening. And it's just not entirely clear how things would pan out there going forward, especially if the shutdown took an extended amount of time. Now, for SNAP benefits, This is definitely a concern because, according to the Center for a Responsible Federal Budget, the ability to send out food stamp benefits could be affected by a shutdown, since continuing resolutions have generally only authorized the Agriculture Department to send out benefits for 30 days after a shutdown begins. So, if a shutdown were to last too long, it could result in an interruption of benefits. For example, if you guys were with us during the 2018 and 2019 shutdown, I remember trying to cover that as it happened. And what they did is the USDA decided to send out February SNAP benefits early in January before that 30-day mark hit. So they issued it a little bit early. It was like 10 days early. And that way they were able to guarantee people got their February benefits. And then thankfully that shutdown resolved before they had to deal with the March payments. So there wasn't an interruption, but only because they used that technical loophole to make that happen. And there's no guarantee that the current administration would enable those workarounds to make that work. So ultimately, if the government were to shut down on October 1st, it's likely that your October payments would not be affected. However, if it were to continue into November and beyond, it's likely that there would be an interruption. And that would be an especially horrible thing to go through as we move into the holiday season. So that is something to be aware of. Now, if you do get Social Security benefits, there is good news for you. Multiple representatives' websites clearly state that Social Security checks would not be delayed during a government shutdown, but wait times for other services could take longer. For example, in a letter, they outlined what would and wouldn't be happening, and it sounds like benefit payments, applications, appeals, and continuing disability reviews would still be happening, but some other services could stop, like benefit verifications, corrections to earnings records, Freedom of Information Act requests, replacement Medicare cards, overpayments processing, things like that would be slowed down or stopped in the event of a government shutdown. Now, there are obviously going to be impacts to other programs as well. So, unemployment is largely unaffected because it's usually administered by state governments. So, a federal shutdown shouldn't affect that too much. WIC is considered an accepted program by the Food and Nutrition Service, so it should keep running as long as there is enough funding available from contingency reserves. But if the funding does run out, then WIC would eventually stop. Um, and of course, just a quick reminder to check out our sponsor, Free Cash, if you're concerned about getting a little bit of extra money coming in. They're a great way to do that. The payouts are actually really low. I know one of the biggest problems I've had with a lot of these sites is that you have to accrue crazy amounts of money before you can cash out. And Free Cash actually makes it really easy to just earn a little bit, pull it out. It's a great little stopgap way to get some extra money coming in. But anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I hope it's brought you some comfort, especially as we navigate this upcoming situation together. And of course, we'll be watching to see if this resolves or if there's additional information that we can bring to you in the future. I really appreciate you guys, and we'll be back again soon with more ways that you can save money and get free stuff and help navigate some of these programs.